I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not necessarily gonna hold you. I'm okay with the concept of magical girls now. Now, granted, you would think that, oh, I would have already been fine with the concept of magical girls, honestly, because I've at least seen 2 shows that uses the concept, but not necessarily. To me, magical girls were kind of like the same, well, I won't say the same, but kind of like my argument when it comes down to mecha in a way, except the conversation is a little bit more different and a little bit more stereotypical, because my dumbass was like, oh, the hell am I gonna watch a magical girl show for? Because I'm just like, what is the point? They're gonna just do some cute girly ass transformation and then be on some nonsense, and then that's gonna be some cutesy anime girl shit, and it's like, alright, why am I watching this? Reason why I didn't watch Sailor Moon, exactly for that reason. However, after watching this and then kind of thinking back to, Fate Ilya, and then you also had like Magical Girl Sight that I watched back then, I'm not gonna hold you. Thinking about all this stuff now, I'm now kind of okay with the concept of magical girls. Am I just gonna sit down and just, watch a whole bunch of magical girls anime? No, I'm probably not. But when it comes down to it, I can at least appreciate what the shit is now. I can very much sit here and tell you that there is a point to a magical girl and the concept of it. I can understand why people like that shit now, and why so many times in cartoons and different shows, why it's like a reference to the transformation of a magical girl when it comes down to it. Like, I get it now. That being said, let's talk about this damn anime, because this anime was a bit wild and we're going to briefly go over it a little bit. So, when it comes down to it, I like the show. I don't think the show did anything amazing. I don't think the show was anything crazy outside of the fan service. But when it comes down to it, I think the show was just pretty okay, and I'll just go ahead and just tell you it's like a 7 out of 10 of a show, right? I came here to because, oh, I heard the show was a bit raunchy and crazy, let's see where we go, and then it ends up actually becoming a show I genuinely wanted to see more of, wanted to watch, and just had a good time with an experience of just watching the damn show, honestly, right? There is definitely a lot of things about these characters that I definitely vibe with, and there's some things I don't necessarily vibe with at all. Like, for example, let's start with the main girl, Utena, because by far, Utena is a nutcase, right? Let's just keep that stacked. When it comes down to it, though, like, usually when you have like a main character, they are pretty clear on what they like, what they don't like, and even if they're confused on something, they'll usually get it at the very end of things. They ain't on some Cloud Strife, I'm misremembering shit type of nonsense. Like, no, they're not usually on that type of beat. They're usually on a level of, okay, I'm good, this is what it is, this is what I like, this is what I like. It's a bit crazy, but sometimes I like this as well. Utena doesn't know what the hell she likes, because there's a part of her in this entire damn anime where she just sitting here like, oh, I like the magical girls, but I don't want to necessarily do any harmful things to them, ultimately turning into Magia Bazer, only for her to be like, now let's see what we can do with these magical girls. Perhaps I'll let some tentacle monster come through and just, violate the bodies of them like I'm Zonzon or some shit. And that's kind of how Utena is the entire damn show. And while half the time I'm just sitting here being entertained by it, the other half I'm like, oh my gosh, pick a side. Do you want to hurt these ladies, or do you just want to go ahead and not be that damn menace? Or you kind of conflicted because of your position and being forced into being a magical girl because old, black, heartless looking mother effer right here on some nonsense trying to get you into this, right? And obviously we already know that he has like different intentions regarding the whole thing of stuff, right? But when it comes to Utena, I think she's a very indecisive character, and I usually don't like indecisive characters, but because of how wild and crazy she can get, especially in her transformed state, I'll kind of give her the, a pass, a slight pass, but a pass nonetheless. But if we were to honestly talk about overall, just like who's the best woman in the entire show, that's a bit tricky. Because honestly, usually I would choose the main character because, oh, the main character is fine, I like them, it's the first person you can see, so of course I'm going to pick them. But for this one, a bit different. I would say Utena is like number 3 on this damn list. Number 3 or number 2 on this damn list. Because there's a few other characters I feel like is worth your time a bit more. Let's just say for the sake of time, Utena is number 3. Who the hell will be 2 to 1? Number 2, I think it's going to be Nemo, because Nemo just honestly had a cool design. Also, was in a nice little scene with Loco, so I'm not going to necessarily get too mad about that. Also, I just like, characters that's like Nemo, honestly, so that honestly riles with me very much so a lot. But when it comes down to it, who is number one? I'm not gonna say it's Magenta, even though Magenta had a really good scene when she was a giant person. Then I ain't gonna sit here and say Azure, because if anything, I would say Azure is probably like the honorable mention girl, because she do be on some wild and nonsense too. If anything, I'm gonna say it's a shared spot between Kiwi and Sulfur, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I like Kiwi because of how, you know, raunchy and crazy she is and out there, and how she just can't go ballistic when she wants to go ballistic. But then I like Sulfur because, oh, you think that she's a sweet ass girl, only for her to come out with the giant fists of things to fist you in the weirdest places, and then you're gonna end up dead. And she has that angry ass attitude. I don't like angry ass women, but when it comes down to it, I like how Sulfur is portrayed here. So for some reason, even when these two were fighting in the last episode, I wanted Kiwi and Sulfur to share the same number one spot, honestly, because it just fits well for them, honestly. For some reason, I just adore their characters a lot more than anybody else. What also I think this show does very well is the fact that it parodies what magical girls can do and what they can be, because at the very end of everything, you gotta really think about it. Magical girls are supposed to be this innocent, you know, girly kind of say-to-day hero type of person, only for this version of them to have evil magical girls, and it's like, oh, we're raunchy and lewd and crazy, but at the same time, we like these magical girls as well, and we want to just keep playing around with them, honestly, just because and just for fun. And it's like, no show really sits down and do that shit. But here, it's like, they say, we're going to just parody everything, all the serious stuff, and just try to, you know, make it a fun time. While there is some plot here, at the same time, we're not going to necessarily make it a super serious plot of all things. So it's like a giant parody of what Magical Girls is supposed to be and what it can do, and it just says, F it, we're going to just take it in this direction, because why the hell not? And finally, of all things, let's talk about the fan service scenes, which were the best ones. To be very honest with you, I'm going to say they cooked with 4 of them. I'm going to say the obvious one that was really good was Loco and Nemo. That was a sexy scene because they just said let them cook. Honestly, we're going to see some wet areas that you didn't think you was going to see in anime, but you're going to see it here. So that was a pretty good one. I'm going to say Magenta being a giant, it was also like a super good one as well, because why wouldn't you want that? I mean, you grabbed on, I like the part where really Lieutenant just grabbed on Magenta's giant nipple, because why not? So that was amazing. Then I would say the third one would definitely be Azure getting that massage scene, and Lieutenant like, I gotta spread the cheeks, let me see what's in this hole real quick, because why not? We can show this in anime now for some reason. So that was like another scene that I found really damn funny and really damn like, wow, you can show this? So that was pretty cool. And while there's other scenes where I think it's really damn good, they had a lot of fan service in, especially anytime you seen like Kiwi naked as hell, so, and that was like really damn good. However, I'm gonna give it to the time where Karisu and, you know, Utena was like taking care of Utena because she was sick and whatever. Because, and the reason why, it's the only time outside of the first episode where I think you get to see Utena naked. That's the only reason why. Because a lot of the time, Utena's the one throwing this junk out there. She's the one that's doing all the disrespectful nonsense, being on some Black Air Force activity energy. But when it comes down to it though, we don't get a lot of scenes of Utena herself being vulnerable and being, you know, in that type of situation, much less being fondled by a damn lolly of all things. So when it comes down to it, you know, it's like, yeah, I want to see more of Utena being in sexy attire or being in sexy, you know, crazy situations. So why wouldn't you want that? So for me, that's like the number 4th thing that would be honestly really damn good. If I had to complain about anything, I think it's a very obvious thing, is that you had a lolly character in this, and you didn't utilize them to the fullest extent. Yes, you showed off the lolly character transformation, and you showed them being naked in that form, but you didn't really do anything with them. Like, if you can show them being naked in one episode, I'm pretty sure you can show, you know, in the final episode, her getting fondled by the damn tentacle monster. I'm just gonna be very honest with you. Because watching that back, I was just like, that doesn't make sense. Why save her but not everybody? Okay, that's weird. Maybe it's because, again, people don't want to be pissed off about what happened and obviously upsetting people. But at the same time, you put her in, I expect her to be used in some shape or form. If you let us see her naked in the transformation, you might as well show us the rest of the shit. Because what's the point? It's like if High School DxD was like, oh, Konako is here, but we're not going to show her in any lewd situation. What's the point of you having her here if you're not going to use the fantasy, and the show is built on that shit too, or at least has a key part of that stuff that's added to the show. What is the point? So I feel like Karisu, outside of her being cute, was mishandled in that department of ways. Also, if I were to have to say who is the MVP of this entire anime, honestly, I'm giving it to Azer. Mainly because, one, she started off nice as a magical girl, then got manipulated and used, and ultimately started to like that nonsense. Then for her to come back with a vengeance, only for that vengeance to be her liking the pain and wanting more of that shit. What the hell, Azer? This is some nonsense. But at the same time, you know what? It kind of it will be in line with what you do. So, you know, it would make a lot of sense. You probably like her spreading your absolute cheeks, right? That's probably some shit that you honestly thoroughly enjoyed, 100%. And again, for me, this is also really fun because we had a conversation some videos back, like I think a year ago, where we talked about how there's righteous girls in anime and how they often be like super like, oh, I'm like this, I would never commit, you know, some kind of crazy nonsense like this, only for these girls to kind of fall under that banner of being righteous and then getting taken down like that. And I absolutely love that. I wish more shows had more concepts where they do that type of stuff and actually commit to that shit. Not in a serious light, but like in the same light as this though. So this is honestly very fun and honestly something I was hoping to see anime do a bit more. So I kind of got what I wanted here. But yeah, again, ultimately, if you really just want to watch a Magical Girl show and want to just watch something that's pretty entertaining, definitely would give this show a recommendation. Definitely would say, again, it's a 7. Don't do anything crazy, but it is just something that, you know, is out there. And definitely, hopefully it will get a second season, because lots of people in Japan like it, people over here like it. All the other shows get a second season that's been announced recently. Why can't we get this one for a second season? No idea. It's a bit weird. At least it's Kokatsu models, so, you know, that's a good thing. I think there's a Nemo one that just dropped yesterday, so gonna go cop that one real quick. But when it comes down to it, though, hopefully we get a season 2. That's essentially all I really want to say for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification else. Also follow me on the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. Until next, Wajay, sign off. Have a blessed day.